Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Clouds and Fires. I'm Melinda, and if you haven't watched yesterday's video, I will be your host for the rest of the week this week. I'm just jumping on to help out with Matt. If you didn't know, Matt is he's our editor, he's the director, he's the host, he does everything. I literally just put on some makeup, put on a nice outfit, and I come and sit. Matt's the one that does all the background work. So we've been really busy with life lately, and he's been really trying to work hard on balancing life and balancing these videos. And I told him, well, I have an extra day. How about I just help out and kind of get some of these videos out there so that way you could just worry about editing. And so here I am. Like I said yesterday, I am your host for this week. Again, my name is Melinda, and Matt will be here next week. He will be back next week. We're just kind of cranking these videos out to be sure that we're staying consistent for you guys. And so welcome to day 11 of February 11th, not day 11, February 11th. Today is February 11th. And we are going to be continuing on in Exodus. We're going to be reading today Exodus chapter 32. And again, continuing on in Matthew. The last we read in Matthew was when Jesus was being arrested. And they were getting ready to do their thing. So we're going to be continuing on today. Again, like Matthew says, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us today. And without any delay, we're going to jump right in. So we're going to go on, continuing on in Exodus chapter 32. We're going to read all the way to chapter 33, verse 23. Okay? So here we go. 32 verse 1, it says here, when the people saw how long it was taking Moses to come back down the mountain, they gathered around Aaron. Come on, they said. Make us some gods who can lead us. We don't know what happened to this fellow Moses, who brought us here from the land of Egypt. So Aaron said, take the gold rings from the ears of your wives and sons and daughters and bring them to me. All the people took the gold rings from their ears and brought them to Aaron. Then Aaron took the gold, melted it down, and molded it into the shape of a calf. When the people saw it, they exclaimed, O Israel, these are the gods who brought you out of the land of Egypt. Aaron saw how excited the people were, and so he built an altar in front of the calf. Then he announced, tomorrow will be a festival to the Lord. When people got up early the next morning to sacrifice burnt offerings and peace offerings, after this they celebrated with feasting and drinking, and they indulged in pagan revelry. The Lord said to Moses, quick, go down the mountain. Your people whom you brought from the land of Egypt have corrupted themselves. How quickly they have turned away from the way I commanded them to live. They have melted down gold and made a calf, and they have bowed down and sacrificed to it. They are saying, these are your gods, O Israel, who brought you out of the land of Egypt. Then the Lord said, I have seen how stubborn and rebellious these people are. Now leave me alone so my fierce anger can blaze against them, and I will destroy them. Then I will make you, Moses, into a great nation. But Moses tried to pacify the Lord, his God. O Lord, he said, why are you so angry with your own people whom you brought from the land of Egypt with such great power and such a strong hand? Why let the Egyptians say their God rescued them with the evil intention of slaughtering them in the mountains and wiping them from the face of the earth? Turn away from your fierce anger. Change your mind about this terrible disaster you have threatened against your people. Remember your servants Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You bound yourself with an oath to them and saying, I will make your descendants as numerous as the stars of heaven, and I will give them all of this land that I have promised to your descendants, and they will possess it forever. Verse 14 says, so the Lord changed his mind about the terrible disaster he had threatened to bring on his people. Then Moses turned and went down the mountain. He held in his hands the 2 stone tablets inscribed with the terms of the covenant. They were inscribed on both sides, front and back. These tablets were God's work. The words on them were written by God himself. Then Joshua heard the boisterous noise of the people shouting below them. He exclaimed to Moses, it sounds like a war in the camp. But Moses replied, no, it's not a shout of victory, nor the wailing of defeat. I hear the sound of celebration. Jeez. When they came near the camp, Moses saw the calf and the dancing, and he burned with anger. He threw the stone tablets to the ground, smashing them at the foot of the mountain. He took the calf they had made and burned it, and then he ground it into powder and threw it into the water. Forced the people to drink it. Jeez. Moses is crazy. Finally, he turned to Aaron and demanded, what did these people do to you to make you bring such terrible sin upon them? Don't get so upset, my lord, Aaron replied. You yourself know how evil these people are. They said to me, make us gods who will lead us, who we don't know what happened to this. Hold on, I have to turn the page real quick. We don't know what happened to this fellow Moses who brought us here from the land of Egypt. So I told them, whoever has gold jewelry, take it off. When they brought it, when they brought it to me, I simply threw it into the fire, and out came this calf. Moses saw that Aaron had let the people get completely out of control, much to the amusement of their enemies. Verse 26. So he stood at the entrance to the camp and shouted, "All of you who are on the Lord's side, come here and join me." And all the Levites gathered around him. Moses told them, "This is what the Lord of God Israel says. Each of you take your swords and go back and forth from one end of the camp to the other. Kill everyone, even your brothers, friends, and neighbors." The Levites obeyed Moses' command, and about 3,000 people died that day. Wow. Then Moses told the Levites, "Today you have ordained yourself for the service of the Lord, for you obeyed him even though it meant killing your own sons and brothers. Today you have earned a blessing." The next day Moses said to the people, "You have committed a terrible sin, but I will go back up to the Lord on the mountain. Perhaps I will be able to obtain forgiveness for your sin." So Moses returned to the Lord and said, "Oh, what a terrible sin these people have committed. They have made gods of gold for themselves. But now, if you will only forgive their sin, but if not, erase my name from the record you have written." But the Lord replied to Moses, "No, I will erase the name of everyone who has sinned against me. Now go lead the people to the place I told you about. Look, my angel will lead the way before you. And when I come to call the people to account, I will certainly hold them responsible for their sins." Then the Lord sent a great plague upon the people because they had worshipped the calf Aaron had made. The Lord said to Moses, "Get going, and the people you brought up from the land of Egypt, go up and to the land I swore to give to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I told them I will give this land to your descendants, and I will send an angel before you to drive out the Canaanites, Amorites, Hittites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. Go up to this land that flows with milk and honey, but I will not travel among you, for you are stubborn and rebellious people. If I did, I would surely destroy you along the way." Well, craziness. Verse 4, and that was 33. Now we're in verse 4. When the people heard those stern words, they went into mourning and stopped wearing their jewelry and fine clothes. For the Lord had told Moses to them, "You are stubborn and rebellious people. If I were to travel with you for even a moment, I would destroy you. Remove your jewelry and fine clothes while I decide what to do with you." So from the time they left Mount Sinai, the Israelites wore no more jewelry or fine clothes. It was Moses' practice to take the tent of meeting and set it up some distance from the camp. Everyone who wanted to make a request to the Lord would go to the tent meeting outside the camp. Whenever Moses went out to the tent of meeting, all the people would get up and stand in the entrances of their own tents. They would all watch Moses until he disappeared inside. As he went into the tent, the pillar of cloud would come down and hover at its entrance while the Lord spoke with Moses. Wow. When people saw the cloud standing at the entrance of the tent, standing at the entrance of the tent, they would stand and bow down in front of their own tents. Inside the tent of meeting, the Lord would speak to Moses face to face as one speaks to a friend. Imagine that. That's crazy. Afterwards, Moses would return to camp, but the young man who assisted him, Joshua, son of Nun, would remain behind in the tent of meeting. One day Moses said to the Lord, "You have been telling me, 'Take these people up to the promised land,' but you haven't told me whom you will send with me. You have told me, 'I know you by name, and I look favorably on you.' If it is true that you look favorably on me, then let me know your ways so I may understand you more fully and continue to enjoy your favor. And remember that this nation is your very own people." The Lord replied, "I will personally go with you, Moses, and I will give you rest. Everything will be fine for you." Then Moses said, "If you don't personally go with us, don't make us leave this place. How will anyone know that you look favorably on me and your people if you don't go with us? For your presence among us sets your people and me apart from all other people on the earth." That's a beautiful scripture. Verse 17, the Lord replied to Moses, "I will indeed do what you have asked for. I look favorably on you, and I know you by name." Moses responded, "Then show me your glorious presence." The Lord replied, "I will make all my goodness pass before you, and I will call out my name Yahweh before you. For I will show mercy to anyone I choose, but I will show compassion to anyone I choose. Verse 20, "But you may not look at me directly in my face, for no one may see me and live." The Lord continued, "Look, stand near me on this rock as my glorious presence passes by. I will hide you in the crevice of the rock and cover you with my hand until I have passed by. Then I will remove my hand and let you see me from behind, but my face will not be seen." Wow, what an intense reading. There's so much to unpack here, and I just don't even know where to start. I do think it's crazy, though. I just think it's crazy, this whole situation with Aaron. Something that I will say about this, and I don't know, maybe this is just for me. Maybe it might be for someone watching. But when I read this, I think about because in that sense, obviously in that time, you couldn't, physically go before the Lord because you would die. Obviously, we're reading that here. And Moses was the appointed one that would go communicate with the Lord and then come back and bring back a word for the people. Something I do take away from this, though, is it is important because Moses was teaching the Israelites about the Lord and giving them the word of the Lord. And we had the 10 Commandments and all these things. I think it really is important. And I'll say that this is for me. And if this is for you too, then, that's amazing. But I will say that it's so important. This is why it's so important to learn and to understand who the Lord is and to really take it for yourselves. Because there will be seasons. There might be seasons where the Lord is just, he's maybe not fully there like he sometimes is. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm not saying the Lord leaves you. The Lord doesn't leave you. But I will say that there's some times where it just feels like the Lord might be distant. Like, man, I don't really feel the Lord close to me as I normally do. What's wrong with that? But that's why it's so important that you hold on to his word and you hold on to that relationship with him, because it's not because he's pulling away from you, but it's just, it depends on the season. I can't say specifically, but I will say that I think it was really important here that the Israelites were to have known about him more. And Moses did his part. I will say Moses did his part in teaching the Israelites about the Lord and his commandments and things like that. But these people were just so all over the place that they just decided, well, we haven't seen him in a while, so we're just going to start worshiping this calf. And it's like, well, what? And I think that sometimes can happen to us. Like, well, this thing isn't happening, or I haven't heard from this in a while, or this thing hasn't, come, or, whatever. Like, all these different circumstances come. And then I feel like sometimes I'll say for myself, like, I just, well, what do I do now? What am I supposed to believe in now? You know what I mean? And it's not okay. I don't think that's not how the Lord intends for us to live. And so seeing this, it just really convicts me to just continue to press on in my relationship with the Lord, continuing to stand on his word and make that the foundation for my life, so that when seasons come and when things happen, I can stand on that. It doesn't allow me to sway to the right or to the left, but I'm standing and I'm firm on his word, so that way I'm able to be stable, even when it feels like maybe he's not so close right now, or maybe I'm not too close to him, and observe those things and learn what I have to do. And I think that's something the Israelites really missed, is they just, they're all over the place. I think that's crazy that, for that long, they just decided, okay. And then even seeing Aaron, and how he just said, okay, well, everyone gather your gold and we're going to make a calf. And he created a calf. And so I just think that's really crazy, all of that's happening. And it's crazy that Aaron was just appointed as the priest, and, he went through that whole process. And so to see how that exchanged from him being anointed as a priest, and then now he's like, yeah, the calf, it's just it's crazy. And I did say this last video, but there is a series called The Promised Land on YouTube. And it actually shows specifically one of the episodes is specifically this whole situation here. And it shows, Moses coming down from the mountain, and he's like, what's happening? And how he crushes the calf and he throws it in the water. And you see how Aaron's face is the conviction on Aaron to see man, what was I doing? Why did I, it's a really good episode. It's actually really good. I do recommend it. But anyways, yeah, what a trip to see what's going on here. So I don't know. We'll see what's happening tomorrow. We're going to continue on tomorrow for Exodus. So, all right, we're going to move on to Matthew chapter 26. We're going to read verse 69 all the way to chapter 27. And then we're going to end at verse 14 in chapter 27. So yesterday we were when Judas betrayed Jesus and they came to arrest him. So let's see what happens today. All right, verse 69. Meanwhile, Peter was sitting outside in the courtyard. A servant girl came over and said to him, "You were one of those with Jesus the Galilean." But Peter denied it in front of everyone. "I don't know what you're talking about," he said. Later, out by the gate, another servant girl noticed him and said to those standing around, "This man was with Jesus of Nazareth." Again, Peter denied it, this time with an oath. "I don't even know the man," he said. A little later, some of the other bystanders came over to Peter and said, "You must be one of them. We can tell by your Galilean accent." Peter swore, "A curse on me if I'm lying. I don't know the man." And immediately the rooster crowed. Jeez. Suddenly Jesus' words flashed through Peter's mind. "Before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times that you even know me." And he went away weeping bitterly. Very early in the morning, the leading priests and the elders of the people met again to lay plans for putting Jesus to death. Then they bound him, led him away, and took him to Pilate, the Roman governor. Verse 3, when Judas had betrayed him, realized that Jesus had been condemned to die, he was filled with remorse. So he took 30 pieces of silver back to the leading priests and the elders. "I have sinned," he declared, "for I have betrayed an innocent man." "What do we care?" they retorted. "That's your problem." It's true. That was his problem. Okay. Then Judas threw silver coins down in the temple and went out and hanged himself. The leading priest picked up the coins. If it wouldn't be right to put this money in the temple treasury, they said, since it was payment for murder. After some discussion, they finally decided to buy the potter's field, and they made it into a cemetery for foreigners. That is why the field is still called the field of blood. This fulfilled the prophecy of Jeremiah that says, they took the 30 pieces of silver, the price which he was valued at by the people of Israel, and purchased the potter's field, as the Lord directed. Now Jesus was standing before Pilate, the Roman governor. Are you the king of the Jews? The governor asked him. Jesus replied, you have said it. But then the leading priests and the elders made their accusations against him. Jesus remained silent. Don't you hear all these charges they are bringing against you? Pilate demanded. But Jesus made no response to any of the charges, much to the governor's surprise. And that's it. That's crazy with Judas. I don't know, man. I mean, all of it. You see, like, how what Jesus predicted, or what Jesus was saying at the table with Peter, and then he tells Peter, like, you will deny me 3 times before the rooster crows, and how Peter's like, no, that's never going to happen, and then bam, it happened, and then he realized it after, which I think is crazy, and then just seeing the remorse of Judas, how he was just like, no, I take it back, you give me the money back. I think it's crazy. I don't know. I have no words. I have nothing for this. I just think it's crazy to be reading this and to see how all that. I would say for Peter, though, I think it is. I think that it is crazy. I don't know where it came from. Maybe it explains it later. Maybe I missed something. I don't know. But I will say that seeing that situation, like, I think we're going to come across that in our own time. I think we are going to come to a point when when Jesus returns, we are going to have to answer for our faith and our belief in the Lord. And I do believe that some might deny. Some people who say, like, I'm a hardcore Christian and I'm all for Jesus and and then when that time comes, we'll see what the answers are. And I think that this is something that maybe Peter was struggling with too, because Jesus was being arrested. There's talks of Jesus, killing Jesus, and they want to kill him and all these different things. So I have a feeling, and I'm sure this is something we all know, but that Peter was probably just afraid to really stand with Jesus out of fear of maybe just experiencing what Jesus, being taken in with him, and enduring all that with him. So I think that it's crazy. It's crazy how I'd rather be on the opposite end. I mean, it's a scary thought to say, like, what could happen, the consequence of saying your belief in the Lord and saying that you're a Christian, but at the same time, I'd rather suffer that than to deny that, But what a crazy thing to read here, even with Judas and all that. Oh, interesting. That's crazy. This story every time. That's so much happening. Okay, guys, let's move to Psalm 33. We're going to read verse 1 to 11. Let the godly sing for joy to the Lord. It is fitting for the pure to praise him. Praise the Lord with melodies on the lyre. Then the lyre? Lyre? I think it's lyre. Make music for him on the 10-stringed harp. Sing a new song of praise to him. Play skillfully on the harp and sing with joy. For the word of the Lord holds true, and we can trust everything he does. He loves whatever is just and good. The unfailing love of the Lord fills the earth. The Lord merely spoke, and the heavens were created. He breathed the word, and on all the stars were born. He assigned the sea its boundaries and locked the ocean in its vast reservoirs. Let the whole world fear the Lord, and let everyone stand in awe of him. For when he spoke, the world began. It appeared at his command. The Lord frustrates the plans of the nations and thwarts all of their schemes. Let's move on to verse 11. But the Lord's plans stand firm forever, and his intentions can never be shaken. This is so cool. I love this. I think this is something that always stood out to me too when I read things like this, is because I think about, like, sometimes I really struggle with doubt, and sometimes I'm just like, I don't know if the Lord can do it, being newly married and wanting to start a family. Sometimes it can be really hard to believe, like, that God would bless our family or expand our family, different things that people can face, or maybe finances or different things like that. And so sometimes it's really hard, but I love reading these scriptures because you think about how it says here, it's just the power in just his voice. And this is just the voice of the Lord. This is not at his full capacity, I like to think. This is just him speaking. And you see the power and everything that comes from just his voice. Like, I don't know. I just can't fathom that. It thinks how the Lord merely spoke and the heavens were created. He breathed the word and all the stars were born. And I just think like, if he can just merely, and this is merely, like that's not even the most you can do. Like it's literally saying like merely, he just merely spoke. Like he was just like, yo, I don't know what he said, but like it just came into existence. And so I think that's so crazy. And I really think that that could be hope for maybe someone watching. I carry it as hope for myself, for whatever seasons that you're believing for, is that if God can speak, merely speak, and the heavens can be created, and if he can just breathe a word and the stars are born, how much more can he speak into your life and something be done? You know what I mean? I think that that's what's crazy. And these are things that kind of really have me, that really keep my hope in the Lord when I'm going through a tough time of believing or, wondering, is like, okay, he can speak and the heavens, like the literal heavens and the stars in the sky, and you see the oceans and its boundaries and all these amazing, like giant things happen. Like what more? Like how much more from me in my situation? Like to him, it's probably like, oh, that's nothing compared to like, you know what I mean? And not that's nothing in like a demeaning way. Like that's nothing like, I can do that in a heartbeat. I can do that like 2 seconds ago. You know what I mean? So I think that that's crazy, the power of God and how powerful he is. And sometimes how we can just put him in a box, or I think I can put him in a box. Sometimes I can just think like, no, the Lord can't do that. But it's like, no, he very well can. It literally, he can do all this. Why can't he do that for you? So I hope that that's hope for somebody today. If you're believing in the Lord, and it doesn't have to be finances. It doesn't have to be anything, but maybe you're struggling mentally. Maybe you have an ache in your heart. Maybe you're struggling, and whatever you're struggling with physically, emotionally, spiritually, maybe you're worrying about finances. Maybe you're worrying about whatever, like God, by just the mere speaking of his words can make this possible, then he can surely make it possible for you. And I love it how it says the Lord's plans stand firm forever. His intentions can never be shaken. I love that, how powerful he is. And it's crazy how just how good the Lord is. I love here too. The Lord frustrates the plans of the nations and thwarts all their schemes. Like, she's crazy. That's the God that we serve. I just want you to know that's the God that we serve. That's the God that we follow. And even if you're new to Christianity, maybe you're new to serving the Lord, this is the God that you're serving. This is the God that you're following, and he can do so much for you, and nothing is impossible. And I think it's just learning how to understand that nothing is impossible. So good. I love it. All right, we're going to finish off with Proverbs chapter 8. We're going to read 33 to 36. 33 says here, listen to my wisdom, or listen to wisdom's instruction and be wise. Don't ignore it. Joyful are those who listen to me, watching for me daily at my gates, waiting for me outside my home. For whoever finds me finds life and receives favor from the Lord. But those who miss me injure themselves. All who hate me love death. I think this is good too. I like this because I like how it says, listen to wisdom instructions and be wise. I think it's a two-way thing. Like you can listen for wisdom, but it also takes the action of it. Like the only way wisdom's going to work if you put action to it. That's how I like to think of it. And I think that we come across it a lot of times. Like, I think wisdom is like that little voice that tells you, like, I don't know if this is right. I don't know if this is what I should do. Something tells me that I shouldn't step into this, or something tells me that I should step into that. Something tells me that I should reach out to this person, or something's telling me that I shouldn't reach out to that person. All of that is just increments of wisdom. That's how I like to think of it. And it's a matter of hearing it and following it. And that's how wisdom works. And I like to see it here. And it literally says it here. It says, listen to wisdom's instruction and be wise. Don't ignore it. And when you acknowledge it and you embrace it and you move forward in that, then you see the benefits of that. It says, joyful are those who listen to me, watching me daily at my gates. So always being mindful. It's not walking tiptoed and scared, but it's just being confident and learning, okay, this is not the right move. And I think that there's a two-way to it. You got to hear for it and you have to put action to it. And that's how wisdom works. But anyways, that's our reading for today. February 11th. We are, what's today? February 11th, Wednesday. We are in Wednesday. We're almost closer to Valentine's Day too. But thank you guys so much for joining me today. Again, like I said in the beginning of the video, Matthew will be back next week. I will be here for the next couple of days, and we'll be continuing on reading about Moses and the Israelites, also with Jesus and what's taking place with him. And as we continue on, and as we normally do day to day, I hope you guys have a great day, whether you're at work, whether you're at home, on your way to work, coming home from work, whatever you're doing. I hope you have a great day. I hope that something in this ministers to you and you get to hold on to something, any of this that we read today. And I hope that it, just continues to just grow within your heart and grow your belief in the Lord. And again, thank you guys so much for following along. I hope that if you guys wouldn't mind, drop a like, drop a subscription, just drop a sub. If you have any prayer requests, of course, feel free to drop them in the comments if it's not too private, and we would love to pray with you guys. But just like that, I hope you guys have a great day. You know what I didn't do? Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, guys. I didn't get to pray. But let me go ahead and close out this video in prayer, and I'll be sure to get back on it for tomorrow's video. So I'm going to go ahead and pray, and we'll see you tomorrow. All right? Heavenly Father, I thank you for this day. I thank you for everybody who's watching, Lord, whoever comes across this video. I pray that you anoint it. I pray that you cover it. I pray you cover the words that we read in this video, because it's from your word, God. I pray that as we continue to see the greatness of who you are, God, that we would begin to just deepen our faith in who you are in our daily circumstances, God. I pray that whoever's watching, that you cover them on their day, whether they're at work, whatever they're doing, Lord, that you would just be with them, continue to cover them, and remind them of your love for them. I thank you so much for what you're doing here today and in the days to come. We put our trust and our faith in you, and we love you with all our hearts. In your name I pray. Amen. Thank you guys again for joining us. I hope you have a great day, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.